You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. You're watching Force 13 Live, our 4th hour of coverage on Hurricane... I was going to say Hurricane Matthew then, that's terrible. Hurricane Harvey, which is moving towards the coast of Texas as a Category 1. We say right now 90 miles an hour. The National Hurricane Center has gone with 85 and a pressure of 976, though I think they do shed a little bit of doubt over whether it might be stronger than that due to the lack of new recon data. We say 975 millibars, and looking at how it's moved in the last hour, I can tell you that in the last hour it has moved west-northwest by 12 miles. My name's Nathan Foy. I'm joined by the Skype team who have been accompanying me for the last few hours and continue to do into the later hours of today. We're joined by several people right now: David, Marcel, Craig and Orlando. Let's start with Marcel, if you want to say anything at this point.
I will say that if you're in the area of Corpus Christi or Fort Rebecca, Victoria, evacuate now. If you have a sheltered home, please prepare and then go to shelter, or contact your local authorities for information about shelters and prepare yourself.
And just want to clarify on the opening graphic there to this hour, the hurricane warning has changed slightly. It was extended in the last 20 minutes to Sargent, Texas. So the hurricane warning is now Port Mansfield to Sargent, Texas. A storm surge warning is in effect for Port Mansfield to High Island. A storm surge watch is in effect for south of Port Mansfield to the mouth of the Rio Grande. A tropical storm warning is in effect for north of Sargent to High Island and south of Port Mansfield, Texas to the mouth of the Rio Grande. A hurricane watch is in effect for that same area. A tropical storm watch is in effect for south of the mouth of the Rio Grande to Boca de Raton, Mexico. Harvey is now a high-end Category 1. Awaiting any further news, and we also have Tropical Storm Pakar, which formed in the last hour and is nearing the Philippines. If you have any questions, comments or information for us whilst we're on the air, do send them in the comments section. Start your message with Force 13 all in text. It will light up conveniently for us to reveal on air. So, Harvey's still continuing to move towards Texas, and the track map from the National Hurricane Center shifts south slightly and west slightly in this latest update. That's probably because of its recent movement west-northwest 12 miles in the last hour. Temporary? Probably, and it will probably move back towards the northwest very soon. The National Hurricane Center predicts that it will now remain a tropical storm and then return back to the Gulf of Mexico as a tropical storm. It also says that in just 24 hours or less, actually less than 24 hours, the National Hurricane Center thinks that the storm will reach 125 mile per hour winds, just shy of Category 4 status, and by 6 6 Zulu, which is around 1 a.m. Saturday at that third dot there. It's just about to make landfall at that dot at 120 miles an hour, but you'll notice then that it slows down drastically and stalls on Sunday, and then moves back out to sea on Monday, Tuesday. That's going to deliver huge amounts of rain, and then it will move back out to sea, according to the National Hurricane Center at the moment. Just want to read out its anticipated effects. Rainfall, 15, this is what the National Hurricane Center say now, this is even higher than what they said at the last update. 15 to 25 inches, and isolated maximum amounts of 35 inches over the middle and upper Texas coast. 35 inches is nearly 3 feet of rain through next Wednesday. During the same time period, Harvey is expected to produce total rain accumulations of 7 to 15 inches in far south Texas and the Texas Hill Country over through central and southwest Louisiana, with accumulations of up to 7 inches extending into other parts of Texas and the lower Mississippi Valley. So, whilst the intensity of the storm remains constant right now, we're still looking at an increased amount of rainfall than what they said just 3 hours ago. Storm surge could be up to 6 to 12 feet if it strikes between Padre Island and Sargent. Up to 12 feet, that's if it occurs at the time of high tide. Sargent to Jamaica Beach, 5 to 8 feet. Port Mansfield to North Entrance Padre Island, 5 to 7 feet. Jamaica Beach to High Island, 2 to 4 feet. Same for the mouth of the Rio Grande to Port Mansfield, and for High Island to Morgan City, 1 to 3 feet. Hurricane conditions are likely within the hurricane warning area late Friday night, with tropical storm conditions expected to first reach the coast in the hurricane warning area on Friday. I'll tell you a bit more of that specifically shortly, but first of all, I don't know if anyone's got any input for us right now in the room.
Just to say that there is now no recon in Harvey at all. The NOAA 2 mission has now finished, and NOAA 9, the upper level reconnaissance, is still ongoing, but that's just going to do a perimeter scan at the perimeter of Harvey. So pretty much you have no recons inside of Harvey. So we're now going on satellite observations for the time being until there is now a new recon sent out.
Do you think they'll be doing any? Do you think they'll be doing any this evening, or are they going to wait till tomorrow?
They could easily do another one this evening.
I mean, tomorrow it's going to get late, because I'm just looking at the earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm force winds along the border with Texas, Mexico. That they could arrive as soon as 8 a.m. Friday. So that's quite soon. We're looking at sort of just over 12 hours.
Because I think they'll complete their recon for today, obviously, due to, they've been flying for a long time. They've been basically up off the ground and back down on the ground, refueling back up and downing again. So the pilots will be getting rather worn out. So obviously,
sure, they've got plenty of personnel. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you would like to hope so.
Right. But I just want to continue here. It's quite possible that the whole of the Texas coast, as far as Galveston, will be receiving tropical storm force winds by 2 p.m. on Friday. So just putting this into perspective here,
very possibly, yeah.
It could happen as soon as then.
The last time Galveston was affected by, a tropical cyclone would have been maybe not directly. Trying to jog my memory. Ah, damn it.
And the National Hurricane Center have two different variations. You have the earliest reasonable time and the most likely arrival time of the winds. The most likely arrival time, according to them, for most of the Texas coast is during the afternoon of Friday, 3-4 p.m. And to be encroaching inland by 8 p.m. as far as Galveston during Friday night, Saturday morning. There is still a lot of uncertainty about this, and these timings will probably change, but you can't have any excuses for not being ready if you're along the Texas coast first thing tomorrow morning.
You've got to be ready, because looking at the last John 16,
if you're evacuating, you've got to go now.
Yeah, if you're going to go, go now. Literally, there's no other way of putting it. And looking at the latest image of Harvey, that eye is now ready to go. I am now seeing the bottom of the eye. There's just some upper level cloud obscuring the top part of the eye and obscuring the bottom a little bit. But that eye is now clear at the bottom, and I can see the ocean through it. So that eye is now pretty well defined. Cloud tops are now blowing up on the northern side, around to the northeastern edge of the hurricane.
And just to show what Craig is describing, let's get the latest visible imagery from GOES 16. Here it is.
See, as you can see on that last, well, when it comes up to the last image there, you can see the cloud top starting to really ramp up now. And the eye, you can see there, and how the difference in the eye, how it was slightly overcast, and now you see the black appearing, which is the Gulf of Mexico. That's literally the water down through the eye. So the eye down at the bottom is perfectly clear, except for the top, which is the upper level clouds, which should clear away if this is the case. This could mean that Harvey could now just have been intensifying as the recon was leaving, which wasn't the first time that the hurricane has decided to do that.
Don't jump the gun just yet. We've still got.
I'm not gonna jump the gun.
Check the infrared before you go there. But whilst you do that, if you're going to do that, I just want to point out a curious development there. It does appear to be moving or curling towards the west in those latest frames. Now, what is it doing?
Is Harvey literally going to defy the NHC's forecast here?
I doubt it. I'm not going to sit here and give people false hope here. I doubt it. But it is interesting. But if it's going to develop into a trend, it's got to happen for a few more hours yet.
Yes, it's got to be, say, what, an hour or two, if not more.
But it has been moving. It has moved west-northwest 12 miles. And if it was to extrapolate that movement, it would make landfall south of the Texas border.
Yeah. But, well, still early days. I mean, it could still be, say, I don't want to say trick of the imagery, because that would be a rather denied thing to come out and say. But it is very possible that it has done that in the last few hours or so. But looking at Harvey right now, regardless of where it makes landfall, it is still a threat, and it's a big threat as well. It's a possible Category 3 hurricane to make landfall on the Gulf Coast, possibly in Texas, according to the National Hurricane Center. But looking at the cloud tops and the GOES 16 imagery, you can see how the cloud tops are really starting to bulk out and really spread out in the last image, which is also another sign that the storm, might be on the up again. Might, quote unquote, might. But looking at Harvey, it has gotten really impressive again over the last few hours or so. But to be honest, anyone, regardless of it, anyone on the Gulf Coast who is watching, and I assume that there is plenty of people that are, if you are planning to evacuate, go now. Or if you are planning to stay, please make sure you have everything that you have, either windows boarded up, doors secured, windows in particular, because obviously if windows blow out, that's going to be a catastrophe, because obviously you need as high a pressure as you can in your house to sustain, I'm not going to go into details about that, but make sure you have windows boarded up, doors secured, plenty of supplies, plenty of water, plenty of canned food so that it does not perish, and please remain safe during this hurricane if you do plan to ride it out.
David, do you have any input for us?
Nothing at this point in time. There's nothing from the National Weather Service, just mainly preparations. I think sporting fixtures have been cancelled. The Bulldogs, FBISD, actually I think this is an educational one. It's cancelled classes on Friday and Monday. That's FBISD.
Let's see if we can check the latest radar. Here's the latest radar out of Brownsville. And again, you can see the composure of the storm there, and its west-northwesterly movement that's occurred in the 45 minutes or so duration of this loop, showing a 45-minute period as the storm continues to move towards the coast. Isolated showers starting to move in between Brownsville and Corpus Christi, and a few showers inland as well. Let's see if we can get back to the latest visible imagery.
I was just going to say that. Sorry, Nathan. Sorry for interrupting.
Well, look again to the northern side now. More flare-ups with those cloud tops. It's almost complete, that eye wall now, and
then you can see down in the bottom of it, it's getting even clearer. You're starting to see the little little low-level clouds down at the bottom of it. You can see them starting to spin round at the bottom of the eye. That's a pretty well-defined eye.
Sobering.
And rather disconcerting if you're on the coast.
Heavy rainstorms already impacting parts of Western Gulf Coast region. I-10 near Lake Charleston, LA traffic is at a
Lake Charles.
snail pace. Lake Charles, would that be impacted by Harvey?
Lake Charles is near the border with Texas, isn't it, I believe?
Right, so it's well, it looks like Harvey is impacting that area, and on the I-10 highway.
We'll check the radar over there then.
Right. I've got GR level 3 open right now.
Well, I've got radar too.
I
see it.
3. It's higher quality.
Blah blah blah. I see it. I see it, David. Hold on a minute. We'll have it on the screen now. Here's the current situation in Lake Charles. In the Lake Charles area, you can see all along the I-10 corridor there from Jennings to Orange in Texas. Heavy rainfall occurring, and that is happening now. And I believe there is trying to make out the colour of that outline. Looks like a special marine warning just near Cameron.
Is it? Special marine warnings. It's been a while since I've looked at them. Goodness me.
I got further information. I think it's the Texas Tribune is reporting Hurricane Harvey could possibly become a Cat 4.
Well, we've been speculating about that for about 3 hours, David. Where have you been?
Yep. Well, I'm just reading. I don't want to tell. Sorry. Anyway,
Okay.
4 p.m. What did we say about the projected rainfall?
Well,
what total
yes.
we see?
Well, the National Hurricane Center says that at the top of the hour, the National Hurricane Center said, and they upped their numbers from their last update. They're expecting now, in terms of rainfall, from 15 to 25 inches of total rainfall accumulations, and isolated maximum amounts of 35 inches over the middle and upper Texas coast. Reminder of that's pretty much 3 feet of rainfall.
That's a heck of a lot of rain to have.
That is a lot of rain.
That's definitely, that's well and truly enough to cause major flooding. Just to say, if it is the warnings that you were looking at, Nathan, on the National Weather Service, were they orange or amber coloured boxes?
Couldn't quite tell. It looks like a marine warning.
If it's an amber coloured box on National Weather Service, then it is a special marine warning.
I don't think it's there anymore anyway, but in any case, there is a flood warning now in the Lake Charles area, just in case anyone's in that area. Flood warning extended until further notice. Calcasieu River at Old Town Bay, pronunciation's probably all wrong, but never mind, and the same river near Saltwater Barrier. The forecast is to rise above flood stage, which is 4 feet, by late this morning, that's old, and continue to rise. That might be the wrong one I was looking at. Nope, that's the only one there. That is a flood warning that's in that area, and that obviously will be exacerbated by that rainfall that's currently occurring. Craig?
I don't know. Well, I don't know whether you can go back to the Go 16 latest image.
Visible.
Boy, Yeah, and
Let's check.
boy,
Let's check the
is
visible
Harvey
again.
starting to look really menacing.
Well, at first,
That eye start.
Mhm.
Yeah,
it
go on.
is. I agree.
The eye has
Still,
compared to what it was, say, an hour to half an hour ago, if not 2 hours ago. It was really heavily overcast. Computer, I don't care if you're running low in memory, deal with it. You can see how that eye was very heavily clouded over, and now it's really starting to clear out. That means the pressure has continued to go down, meaning that the eye has now got the chance to basically clear out and become very well defined. This now, well, might be category 2. Don't know. Might need another. I'd say we need another recon to go in there and confirm that. Just to be firm and saying anything other than that.
I think we need to look at infrared first. We'll do that in a moment.
Would be the idea, but I would. The thing is that IR is behind. Well, obviously, it can't be up. Yeah, it can't really be up that up to date with the real time imagery. But it would be nice if Ghost 16 did have that IR enhancement. I think it had. I need to search for that. But I'll actually have a search for that, Nathan, whilst whoever wants to speak wants to go ahead.
Isaac, you're there.
Okay, well, I'm going to be gone here in the next few minutes. I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be getting out of this thing.
This is Isaac, the first person, unfortunately, to ever evacuate on a live event on one of our members.
Okay, this is what it looks like outside right now.
One moment.
See.
Here's the view from Isaac's place.
Everybody take a good look at what it looks like. Take a good look at what it looks like before her.
And as soon as we put it on the screen, it stops.
And
hold on.
We're going.
Your signal must be very poor there.
But it's literally one of them moments where it's pretty much take a good look at what the place could look like. It's rather. It's one of them gut-wrenching moments. You know what everything looks like before a storm gets there, but it's when it comes back that's where it's really gonna hit you. And
if I'm missing anything or not.
It's a really hard thing to
right
go
now
through.
We're probably getting gusts of around 20 miles an hour.
Right.
And we'll be going down. We're going to get the tropical storm force conditions at around 8 p.m. Tonight. I don't think I missed anything, so I'm going to be going over towards Querel for the next few days. Again, this is a short look at what it's looking like right now. My balcony.
One moment.
And then they completely gone.
We've got it up here. Yeah.
It's pretty much, for everyone who is watching on the live stream, it's pretty much take one good look of what everything looks like before a potential major hurricane hits it, really.
Still sunny.
That looks a pretty nice place
Isaac, can
to
you
be.
see any cirrus clouds?
Let me go check. I'm not a cloud guy, so I don't think so.
Any cirrus, high-level cirrus clouds that you see there will be associated with Harvey.
Yeah, definitely. I'm seeing them right up there.
So
right
those
there,
clouds there are associated with Harvey.
And
if you were to sit and watch, they'd be moving towards the west.
I can't do that right now. I'm gonna have to go like right this minute. So
I know, but I'm just telling everyone that if they were to sit and watch, those clouds will be moving westwards.
Yes, those clouds probably. If Isaac wasn't under threat from this hurricane, he wouldn't be needing to evacuate. I think he's doing the right thing in evacuating. So, it's... Yeah, I know it's a tough decision for him to make, but it's one that he feels comfortable with, and I think... And to be honest, watching a category 3 come towards you, I think it would be wiser to evacuate. So,
Craig, back onto the infrared imagery, I want to point a few things out. So the first thing at this point we talk about when we're thinking about the eye developing, we look for the maximum eye temperature. So obviously the satellite works by bouncing the signal, and then the clouds, we get the temperature from the clouds, and those temperatures denote how high those clouds are. And obviously the lower the clouds are, the more clearing there is, and what we aim to see is a temperature in the positives in which you've reached the ground and that you can see and the eye is well defined. So as you can see, to begin with, this was, how long ago was this image? This was just over half an hour ago, showing you a eye temperature of around -50 Celsius. And this is now just 15 minutes later. This was 15 minutes ago. 15-minute difference. The eye temperature is now up to -30 or so.
See you guys later.
All right, Isaac's literally evacuating right now.
Yes.
So the eye temperature there, Craig, has gone up 20 Celsius in 15 minutes.
That's his temperature jump.
From -50 to -30, and when it enters the positives, then you really look towards category 4.
And then you start
category
panicking.
3, 4, if it's got the cloud tops to support. Still looking weak on the northern and eastern side.
On IR anyway, but visible looking rather strong. Obviously, IR will be a little bit behind the real-time imagery, but looking at that, good question is now, could that be a category 2? Going off of visible anyway, because I know the IR will be behind. I'm trying to find if GOES 16 does have an IR enhancement, which it probably does, and it's literally right under my nose, and I can't see it because I'm blind as a bat. I'm not actually blind as a bat, but I'm just just saying. There it is.
GOES 16 does have an IR enhancement, but probably not where you're looking.
Yeah. That's probably the only IR I'm going to see is probably going to be either NOAA floaters or RAM itself. But I think I'll just stick with what I'm seeing with the visible imagery. I know visible can, rather disguise how a storm can look. I mean, a storm can look shocking in IR, but look really decent on visible. But to be honest, I'm pretty sure soon when IR does catch up, it should start looking really decent. It really should start looking decent.
So again, we're now looking at the near live imagery of the GOES 16 satellite. Just to tell you, on this imagery that you're looking at, the latest image was taken at 24, I think? 24. So this imagery is 3 minutes old at the last frame.
And Nathan, Galveston Ferry is currently monitoring the weather scene, and they have 4 boats running 15 minutes apart. Ferry personnel are currently working to secure all equipment, and I believe that the city of Portland is now under a evacuation order.
Well, there's a new microwave image out, but that's really outdated. That's pretty much no good at all. It's still showing Harvey in a restructuring phase, which it pretty much just did right there. That's probably why the cloud tops were warm, but there's not really much to look at. But the thing that worries me right now is that on the microwave image, it's there that there appears to be a curve band, and that's not good. That's normally associated with rapid intensification. If a storm still has that, then the storm could still be going under rapid intensification, which is not good to see if there is a curve band. But if Devin was on the live stream, he would tell you more about curve bands and how that can affect rapid intensification.
Devin is in the comments right now, so you can have a chat to him if you like. His username is Project Envision, one of our chat moderators this evening.
Because if you want to know any more about, say, the advanced Dvorak scale, Devin is the man to ask.
By the way, in about in about 40 minutes' time, the International Space Station will be moving over Hurricane Harvey, and we should be able to bring that live to you when it happens as well.
I thought the ISS weren't passing over Harvey today.
It is.
Yeah, Jason indicated that it is to fly over, and the nuclear power plant in Texas might be forced to shut down, unconfirmed, along with all the wind farms. So electricity for the Texas South or the Texas coast. So energy is going to be an issue. And report about an hour ago, Houston, people are increasing at service station, gas stations, so people are filling up. I think mainly on the south side of Houston, the low line. I'm not sure. It's the area that normally gets flooded, so people are filling up their cars. And it looks like a bit of price gouging. 8 cents a litre in Houston, increase in a gallon.
And just looking at the last image on the Ghost 16 visible imagery of
Craig,
Harvey. Yes, Nick.
Devon, as we were talking about a short while ago, was listening into the stream and how we said on the infrared imagery the eye temperature may now be in the -30s, which is the case. Devon thinks that might be enough for Category 2.
Well, looking at the latest image right now, the eye has become a lot more clearer, so I would definitely agree.
We had it at 90 miles an hour the last hour or two. National Hurricane Centre have kept it at 85 miles an hour, perhaps conservatively. I think they had their own admission of that because of the lack of reconnaissance aircraft.
Yeah, maybe I think they've done that just for safety reasons. Yes, they've got time because it's not near land, but you do need to get sort of this information right. Yes, there was lack of recon data, but mainly because recons were pretty much finishing at that point. There is now, just to reiterate, there is no recon in Harvey right now. So pretty much, as I said, reiterating this, we're now redundant to satellite estimates until another recon will go in, which could either be by the end of tonight or the start of tomorrow. You would prefer another recon going in by the end of the night into tomorrow morning, and then that one leaving, and then another one going in, say 06Z, maybe 03Z, about there. But you would expect that sort of pattern to go on. So, but to be honest, we are resorted to satellite estimates as going on because there is no recon inside Harvey anymore.
And so we're left guessing. But for how long?
Yeah. Well, hopefully not long, but, going with recon, how they've got to have, they have very large fuel tanks and they can fly around in the hurricane for basically hours. But then there's only enough to do 5 or so hour missions, and then they've got to go back. Slash any problems that do occur, and then it'll cut the mission early. Thank God there's been none of that.
Now, Craig, you remember 5 minutes ago or so, or 10 minutes ago, when I said that the eye temperature was in the -30s?
Yeah,
it's now -23.
-23. Oh, was that the fixed date, fixed temperature just came in, or was that the?
No, that's just a satellite estimate. Now -23, so the temperature's gone up another about 10 degrees in 5 minutes.
That's impressive.
So what we are seeing here is potentially the birth of a major hurricane right now.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's Category 3 yet, but it could be the case by
but if that is the
midnight
case,
local
then
time.
that means probably about there. Yeah, it wouldn't be far off. But if that is
and
the
I
case,
tell you what,
then...
Craig, it's moving west. It's moving west. Look at it.
NHC, what have you done?
David, can you see this imagery? What do you think?
Well,
to
looking at
move.
that imagery,
Sorry, Nathan.
hang on, radar might
Just
help.
going to look.
Okay, radar doesn't help. It looks like it's got it stalled, but it probably is moving. It's just radars, just needing a little bit of time just to catch up. But God,
West northwest.
no, laptop, don't die on me now.
Well,
No.
It certainly was west-northwest, but those latest frames might be even further west than that. My goodness. What does this mean? Is it temporary?
It means my laptop's going to die.
Yeah, it means the NHC are
No.
going to have to move their forecast cone west again. Potentially.
Even further west.
Potentially.
Right, okay, so my laptop's probably going to die, but I'm going to keep on going because I'm that determined to
Not
stay
good.
on this live event. Regardless if this thing dies on me. Don't give up on me now,
Let's see if we've
laptop.
got a. Let's see if we can get a view from the Texas perspective again. Yes, here it is. Just the very edge of the eye starting to appear on that image now.
Yeah.
Definitely
What's
clearing out.
It's cleared out quicker than I thought it would, to be honest.
So here we are, guys. Around 230 miles separates Harvey from Brownsville.
Yes.
So when you look at that number, you'd say that the dense part of the storm extends a good 100 miles around in radius.
Yeah. But looking at Harvey, though, this is one hell of a hurricane.
But again,
When
Craig,
sitting
you
in the
look at it
Gulf.
you look at it entering the screen here, moving west. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
entering the screen otherwise so quickly.
No, it wouldn't.
And you can see when it begins to enter, compared to the last frame, it's barely moved
Yeah.
any northward direction at all. And so if it continued on that trajectory, it's going to Mexico. But that we don't know yet, and the hurricane warnings are still
Yeah,
very
'cause-
valid, and the evacuation orders are still very valid. And let's not forget that this was never expected to be a wind event. It is going to be a wind event, but the rain event is still there
Wind
and is
slash
even
rain.
bigger. It was always going to be a rain
That's
event.
a critical component.
And if anyone
Wind-
remembers
wind
Allison,
dance.
think of Allison
Oh.
again, a retired storm in the early season of 2001, which dumped, I believe, over 40 inches of rain in some areas, in the Houston area in particular. Probably won't be the Houston area this time, but maybe a little bit further south and west that could see isolated amounts of 35 inches, which is very close to Allison. Nonetheless, it's 3 feet of rain, which is a remarkable amount. And according to the models, what we saw earlier, we expect widespread areas to have over 2 feet of rain. So again, there we are with the latest, and we might stick with this view now, maybe, to see the storm appearing on the scope here.
But looking at the last imagery, it looks like the eye's getting tighter, and it looks like it's a pinhole now. So that's not good either. Having a pinhole eye. But the only upside to having a pinhole-eyed storm is that it's very susceptible to an eye wall replacement, but it's very susceptible to explosive intensification, as we've found out with pinhole-eyed storms. But the other upside to land areas is that they are very susceptible to eye wall replacements, as I've said, but they can weaken as fast as they can strengthen. But it remains to be seen. It might just be the way the eye is for the time being. It could expand over time, but let's wait and see what it does. But for now, it isn't a very large eye. So, it looks to be getting clearer in the last frames as well. So, we're gonna. I'm willing to wait and see what happens.
You're watching Force 13 Live. This is our coverage continuing on Hurricane Harvey as it moves towards the northwest, and the fact of the matter is we don't know what's going to happen next. We were not anticipating that the storm would intensify this much. We were not anticipating that the storm might move west as it has done in the last 30 minutes at least, and west-northwest in the last 90 minutes now, Craig, which is getting on towards being a significant amount of time, it's certainly going to be a factor in where it makes landfall. Even if it doesn't continue moving this way, the track's already shifted further west, and they might change it again in a few hours. David?
I have Hurricane Harvey now visible from the Brownsville radar.
That's right. Let's see if we can get that. Do we have... No, we don't have Brownsville at the moment. We'll try and get Brownsville radar back. I think we're just about to get it here. As we showed it earlier on, here is another look at the Brownsville radar from the National Weather Service site, and yes, the whole eye is now visible on radar. And again, you can look there, Craig. Radar being the best way to triangulate the storm itself and where it's going, and that agrees, west-northwest, don't you think?
And I have breaking news too.
Go ahead.
Levi Cowan has just put out a posting on Twitter that NOAA plane is out, and next Air Force plane is now getting on the runway in the Biloxi. So Air Force plane about to take off for another look at Harvey.
And don't forget, the International Space Station will be passing over the storm in half an hour, and we hope to bring you the coverage and imagery of that as it does so. We've got plenty of tools at our disposal here, the radar, the satellite, and the most important part arguably on your screen here, the National Hurricane Center's warning map and what they expect will happen in the next 5 days, a terrible stalling period, and retaining tropical storm intensity into Tuesday, and the rainfall accumulation expectations there of over 15 inches easily for a large area.
And Nathan, the NBC DFW weather, there'll be one of the TV stations reporting the forecast path of Harvey keeps it over parts of southern Texas for days.
Yeah, well, it is literally days.
Yep, and that's not good news, especially when you think of the rain bands in Harvey, and it's just not going to be good.
No.
So from the Mexican border, Corpus Christi, right up to Galveston, Houston, well, they're a little bit concerned. Even up to Baton Rouge, Alexandria, Lufkin, Caryville, Laredo, and Shreveport, Tyler.
Right. By the way, if you've got any questions or comments for us, do send them in. We'll try and respond. The National Hurricane Center at their last update, if you missed it, says that the storm will be at 125 miles per hour, category 3, at 1 p.m. Friday local time, central time, and then will weaken slightly to 120 miles an hour just before landfall, sort of in the Corpus Christi area as far as I see, and then really slowing down and stalling on Sunday, and then moving back out, sorta back out, over the Gulf of Mexico and retaining tropical storm status. That's what we're looking at right now. Let me go back and remind people of what the latest wind probabilities are. Maybe it will help you make an informed decision. The first number I'll read out is the tropical storm chances in percent. The second number I read out is the hurricane chances in percent. Brownsville 75-10, Harlingen 76-9, McAllen 63-3, Corpus Christi 99-52, Rockport 99-71, Port O'Connor 99-68, Matagorda 97-48, High Island 69-14, Freeport 92-30, San Antonio 76-6, Austin 75, Houston 81-10, Galveston 80-19, Port Arthur 56-7, Kautsy 53-3, Jasper 41. No hurricane chance there. And Cameron, Louisiana 50% for tropical storm conditions and 8% for hurricane conditions. So that's the latest, and there have been some heavy rains occurring in the Lake Charles area that's been causing some issues. I think we've got a new flash flood watch that's come into effect in one of the counties in Texas. I'll try and get some information on that. Several counties actually, I believe, including Austin, where Hank is, and I believe where Isaac is heading to. Isaac was here in the last hour, literally evacuating live on air. And the tropical storm warning, just to reiterate, does extend as far inland as San Antonio. It includes San Antonio, the tropical storm warning, and of course all those coastal areas. Hurricane warnings extending from, well, the actual locations again. Hurricane warning from Port Mansfield to Sargent, Texas. And of course you've got the storm surge watches and warnings. A storm surge warning for Port Mansfield and High Island, Texas. A storm surge watch for south of Port Mansfield, Texas to the mouth of the Rio Grande. And lots of problems ahead by the looks of things. Let's see if we can get back with the latest satellite imagery. I'm not sure if anyone else in the room right now wants to say anything.
I'm just kind of having a look at our Western Pacific tropical storm, just a quick
yeah,
little glance.
If you missed that, amongst all of this, a tropical storm formed in the Western Pacific, just off the coast of the Philippines. Its name is Pakar. Its Philippine name has just escaped me. I can't remember what it was, but it's about to strike the Philippines in the next 24 hours.
Yes, current wind speeds are 40 miles per hour. The tropical storm is forecast to make a tropical storm landfall as a 60 mile per hour tropical storm. So, and that's in less than 24 hours, and then making into the South China Sea. Going by this, I think the JTWC got this thing intensifying over land. That's ridiculous.
No, surely not. Craig, I gotta move you on here.
Yes.
Devon, of course, one of our members, has said in the comments here that if it isn't a Category 3 now, it will be by midnight, and that a Category 4 has about a 50-50 shot of happening. Your reaction to that?
Jesus. So who set everything? There's a new recon going to go in.
Yeah, it's about to take off.
AF-307 is about to go in.
So we're going to have another 3 planes, are we?
No, we're just going to have another one. We're going to have another low-level reconnaissance.
How many planes?
AF-307.
How many planes are out right now?
None anymore. We did have 1, 2, 3. We only had 3 out at the same time. 2 low-level, 1 upper-level. Now we've got another one going out. So this one's going to be another low-level reconnaissance. I think this is because they'll probably be sending this one out regardless of its nearing land, but mainly probably because it is looking rather impressive on the latest satellite imagery. Maybe they're going to go out to see if anything has changed. Probably they might find stuff has changed.
So they're running low-level. Like, bound to find some. It's surely intensified to a degree, and who knows what we'll be putting out at the next update.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it probably doing a high altitude one like they did yesterday.
No, they did another. That high altitude was the upper level. They did more
or upper
mainly.
level?
The upper level didn't really go into the storm. The upper level just does the like a scan the perimeter of the hurricane or the tropical storm as it was last night, or in fact depression. Regardless of what it was then, it's not now. But it's pretty much the exact same today, just doing the perimeter of Harvey, mainly seeing what the upper level conditions are like. But the main area here we're looking at is another reconnaissance, just to reiterate, an AF-307 mission. This is the 15th mission going into Harvey. So this one should be a low level, so we should be getting ready to see whatever they find at low level, of low level meaning flight level. So you can basically do the math from there, seeing right, is this at ground level? So we'll wait and see what happens in the next hour to half hour to hour and a half or so, if not longer.
Yep, and whilst I figure out what's going on right now with the storm, which is what I'm working on at the moment, I don't know if anyone wants to read out the latest warnings, just for anyone who hasn't yet learned of the latest.
Right, I'm gonna at least attempt, if I can, at least attempt, try not to ruin everything. That's if I can find the warnings anyway. That's this discussion, forecast advisory. That might be what I want. Okay, right. Okay, so here we go. Hurricane Harvey forecast advisory number 18. Changes and watches warnings with this advisory. The hurricane warning has been extended northeast of Matagorda to Sargent, Texas. Summary of watches and warnings in effect. A storm surge warning is in effect for Port Mansfield in High Island, Texas. A storm surge watch is in effect for south of Port Mansfield, Texas, to the mouth of Rio Grande. A hurricane warning is in effect for Port Mansfield to Sargent, Texas. A tropical storm warning is in effect for north of Sargent to High Island, Texas, south of Port Mansfield, Texas, to the mouth of the Rio Grande. A hurricane watch is in effect for south of Port Mansfield, Texas, to the mouth of the Rio Grande. A tropical storm watch is in effect for south of the mouth of the Rio Grande.
Everything.
Now, here we go. Boca de Canta, Mexico. And I think I just nailed that on the head.
But I'm quite worried about that, looking at the latest movement.
And let me guess that the instinct is still a westward trend. I'm actually looking at that.
West,
that looks to be
northwest.
solid. That looks
West,
to be solid
northwest,
west.
certainly. We'll get that back up very shortly, whilst I continue working on some stuff here. Whilst we figure out what we're coming out with the next update on the hour, which is coming up in a quick 5 minutes here. But yeah, we'll be back with all that very shortly. And again, if anyone has any more questions for us whilst we're here on the air, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. And lots of flash flood watches now in effect in Texas until Monday, I hear.
But looking at Harvey right now, oh, that is a strong burst around the eye wall. Very significant burst.
We will show you imagery of that in just a minute or two.
In fact, maybe strong burst might be an understatement. But I'll let Nathan have a few and try and get over whatever we can try and do. We could, as the warnings say, if you are planning to evacuate, pretty much no other way of saying it, you've got to go now. But if you are planning to ride out the storm, please make sure you have plenty of supplies that are food, not perishable, plenty of bottles of water, and obviously windows are boarded up, doors are secured, because you do not want glass or your doors blown in. Obviously, the hurricane would still do probably significant roof damage depending on how well built the building was.
The eye temperature now is -17.
That has that's drastically warming up.
Now, for those who aren't familiar, this is, I would say, almost as strong as Gert was now.
And that's alarming.
Not long to go till it's as strong as Gert, which happened just a week or two ago. When was it? Wasn't even that long ago, was it? I'm completely lost on my dates. But we have it down as a category 3, by the way. It was borderline. But this is serious, and it looks like it may be getting worse. We don't really know very much about this right now because it seems to be deviating from its track a little bit. We'll keep our eyes on it, and we will stay here again for our 5th hour of coverage coming up in the next hour. Craig, are you staying on with us?
I sure am.
David?
I'll be here.
Very good indeed. Well, stay tuned, send in your questions, we'll have the answers hopefully, and if not, we'll be able to give you at least our opinions. But this is a developing situation and it's not looking good. Hurricane Harvey, more updates to come, stay tuned. Coverage continues in a moment. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.co.uk, at your service at any time. You can also find us on YouTube, the channel, search Force 13, all in text, and subscribe if you haven't already. You can also find us on Facebook at Force 13, and it's at Force 13 on Twitter, that's the handle to contact us there. You can also add Fool13 on Skype, that's FOOL13, and add extension 9094 on Discord for tropical weather chat.